All right, tonight's subtle emotion for courage. The next on the list is self sufficient. And this is one that I wouldn't normally equate to courage. Just naturally, I don't make that equation, that link. But then I contemplated it and it makes sense. I could see how it's in that courageous energy. And I think I've got a lot of memories with this one. I do. I grew up uh, alone a lot. I raised myself. I had to figure stuff out. And, that had pros and cons to it. But one of the big pros is I was very self sufficient. I had to be. And the memory that came to me, the first one that came to me is when I first got a computer uh, in high school. So it's probably like 15, 16. This would be the like 92, 93. And computers were not easy to come by back then. They weren't in everyone's homes. They were extremely expensive. They're limited in what they can do compared to now. The operating system was all text based. Manuals were highly technical. They're written by engineers for engineers. And my grandmother got this computer. I think if I remember right, she wanted to use it for herself for word processing, but mostly it was to promote me doing schoolwork. And that's not what happened. I mean, nothing was going to persuade my opinion of school that it was not for me. But I love to learn. I love to figure things out. I love to explore. And this computer was a gateway to that. So got the computer, and it took days to figure this thing out, just to get it up and running. It's not like now where it already comes running. You don't have to install anything. You just turn it on. Back then, you got it. You had to prep it, and there was no real reference because computers weren't that common. And this was a DOS computer. So before Microsoft Windows, there was DOS. So it was text based, and then there was also Microsoft Windows 3.0 on it. So you had to go into the DOS, and then you could load up Windows, but it didn't look anything like it does now. It was just a blue screen with very rudimentary graphics, ANSI graphics on it, something like that. But I love this thing because like I said, it was a gateway to exploration. So no one ever taught me how to use computers. The manuals, I remember, I didn't even want to read them. I never liked manuals. I'd rather just figure stuff out. And so I set this thing up, and it took days to get it up and running, specifically because it had a modem. So back then, that was really rare. It had a 2400 baud modem. I don't know if you ever had one of those, but literally it was so slow you'd watch the text come in, say it's a sentence, and then you'd see half the sentence and it would stop. It would download more. You see more of the sentence. Like that's how slow it was. And you had to install drivers for it. There's a lot of figuring stuff out. And uh, it took me, like I said, a few days to get it all up and running, get the modem working, figure out what to dial with the modem. So back then there was AOL, and then there was bulletin board systems. AOL I thought was kind of like school. Felt a little too structured for me. The like a chat rooms, whatever. But the bulletin board systems, those were new worlds, and there were bulletin boards for hackers and just games and things like that. But what really interested me was the hacking part. And I immersed myself in that world, and I started teaching myself computers, starting to hack, uh, being rebellious even back on a computer in those early days. But at the core of it was that self-sufficient energy. You know, didn't really care about the manuals, didn't care about uh, someone teaching me how to use it. I wasn't gonna fail. I was gonna figure it out, and because I had that library inside of my my body of just being self-sufficient, I knew I could figure it out, and I would figure it out, and I would enjoy it, and I did. That computer led me to a lot of crazy places. Actually, I'm not gonna get into all that, but that energy, that courageous energy, which kind of seems odd thinking of courage energy with just learning computers or getting them up and running and exploring the internet in its prepubescent days, but it was there. That I, at age 16, knew more about computers than most anyone. Not the elite, but average person absolutely knew more. Teachers in school that taught computers, they realized what was going on, and then they would ask me for help uh, or assistance or to figure stuff out. And it all came down to that self-sufficient, that energy, that feeling, that courage that I could do it. It's in me. I got it. No problem. So that's tonight's subtle emotion for courage, self-sufficient. A little surprising to me, but that's it. I'll see you guys tomorrow.